First of all, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to enter in record, and I'll describe it right here. 4 articles about child smuggling across the border. One particular article by AP referenced a Guatemalan woman charged in South Carolina who said she rented out or recycled children 13 times for smuggling across the border with payment of $1,500 a child.
Without objection.
Mr. Secretary, thank you for being here. I wrote a letter to then Secretary Nielsen about a 13-year-old girl from Guatemala who was seeking entry into the United States. This girl was accompanied by an unrelated adult male who claimed to be her father. His name was Ramon Pedro. Pedro convinced the girl's mother that he would take the girl to America and provide her a job. As a result of the Flores settlement and insufficient bed space, Border Patrol had to release them both after 20 days. Over a month later, both Pedro and the girl were admitted to a hospital in Fresno. At the hospital, doctors discovered the girl had been viciously sexually assaulted by this man while she was in his custody. Police arrested the man for rape and child endangerment. As you know, Mr. Secretary, this happens all too often. So where are we today? Over 600,000 apprehensions so far this year. CBP facilities are beyond crisis level. ICE has been forced to release hundreds of thousands of people into the country without status. HHS facilities of unaccompanied children are beyond capacity. But House of Representatives controlled by the Democrats have now proposed in a spending bill that slashes the Department of Homeland Security resources to carry out your mission as assigned to you by this Congress. It seems Washington has all of a sudden lost all common sense. Mr. Secretary, I have limited time, only 3.5 minutes left, so yes or no to these questions. ICE and CBP officials have talked to me about child recycling or trafficking the same children back and forth across our border to help unrelated adults gain entry. Is it true that the Flores and also the TVPRA and other loopholes have incentivized child smuggling and child recycling?
Yes.
Will DNA testing allow DHS to determine which family units are fake, and in doing so, protect the safety and health of minor migrant children?
Yes, we believe it'll help.
This winter, Congress underfunded your department, limited ICE enforcement abilities, and cut detention space. Did these cuts help the department, the American people, or the migrants?
No.
Did these cuts make the problem at our border worse?
Yes.
Does recycling interagency information sharing, or no, by restricting interagency information sharing about potential sponsors for unaccompanied children, make unaccompanied children safer?
No.
Senator Blackburn, Hawley, and Cotton and I have a bill that requires information sharing between HHS and DHS. Would this improve the government's ability to provide a safe and secure home for our unaccompanied children?
Yes, I believe it will, and Senator Cornyn's bill has a similar provision.
Yeah. Now, in a few minutes I have left, it's kind of outrageous to me that we hear all this talk about humanitarian crisis at the border, that it may be manufactured by the President of the United States, and yet we have these obvious mistreatment of children, recycling of children, being paid to do it, probably the cartel benefiting from it. And there doesn't seem to be the outrage that there ought to be, particularly in the media of the United States, that is the police force for our democratic system of government, that they aren't paying any attention to it, always finding something wrong that the president's doing. It's just outrageous. And it's outrageous that we can't pass legislation to correct this. And somehow, you know, passing a little piece of legislation stopping recycling. as an example. That wouldn't be so important that you wouldn't worry about having a bipartisan agreement to get a bill passed. I yield back the balance of my time.